Hello, everyone. Welcome to Interesting Stories. Let's begin. It was an ordinary afternoon at Portland International Airport. The PA announcements blended with the rumble of suitcase wheels and hurried footsteps. No one paid attention to the man in a security uniform walking steadily down the corridors. Firm stride, one hand gripping the leash of a gray fawn Belgian Malinois. His name was Derek Hayes. Nearly 20 years in aviation security had left Derek unfazed by long shifts, anxious faces, and forgotten luggage. He didn't speak much, but he noticed more than most. His partner, Shadow, a four-legged officer, was a quiet warrior, no barking without cause, no distractions, and absolutely no ignoring strange scents. That afternoon was just another routine patrol. Everything seemed fine. Until Shadow stopped in his tracks. He tilted his head, ears perked, eyes fixed on two black suitcases resting by the wall near check-in counter 17. No owner, no tags, and in that strange moment the dog froze like stone. Then Shadow barked, once, short, a warning. Then came the low growl and tense circling, as if something alive was inside, not luggage, but something breathing. Derek's brow furrowed. He'd seen Shadow react to narcotics, weapons, even explosives, but this felt different, and he knew. Shadow's instincts never lied. Derek knelt beside Shadow, resting a hand gently on the dog's neck. "Easy, buddy. What is it?" But Shadow wouldn't look away from the suitcases. A quiet whine in from his throat, claws scratching the tile floor. He was agitated, restless in a way that had nothing to do with training. This was instinct, pure and primal, and in Derek's world, when a canine's instincts spoke, humans had better listen. He touched his earpiece and spoke calmly. "Unit 1 here, Concourse C, Gate 17. Abandoned luggage, unknown contents, requesting Level 2 perimeter." In under 2 minutes, barriers were set up. A wide circle cleared around the bags. Passengers stepped back, murmuring. Some held up phones, recording with curiosity. But Derek never took his eyes off Shadow, still circling, still warning, like he was trying to tell them something machines couldn't detect. The rapid response team arrived with thermal scanners, portable X-ray units, and chemical sensors. One by one, the tools confirmed a clean read. No radiation, no explosives, no hazardous organics. A younger officer glanced at Derek, half joking. "Probably just some forgotten gym clothes. Your dog's a bit too sharp today." Derek didn't answer. He simply said, "Shadow never gets it wrong." Then he leaned in, whispered just one word to Shadow, "Hold." The dog stopped. No growling, no barking, but his gaze locked onto the left suitcase, as if something inside was calling for help. Nothing visible, nothing on any scanner, just one man and one dog, trusting each other, and just like that, they prepared to open the first suitcase. Technicians pulled on gloves, each move precise, like approaching something alive. The air grew heavy, murmurs faded into silence. Only the soft rasp of a zipper echoed as the left suitcase was opened. Slowly, cautiously, 1 second, 2, then the lid flipped open. Silence, no words. The two techs stared inside, then looked at each other. One stepped back, the other held his breath, and then together they said just one word: evacuate. Derek didn't ask questions. He didn't need to. He keyed into his radio. "Activate full evacuation. Concourse C, immediate." Alarms sounded. Security personnel began redirecting passengers. A few startled screams rang out, but most people just looked confused. No one really knew what was happening. But Derek? He walked toward the suitcase. Inside, tucked among clothes and blankets, a baby bonobo curled into itself. Wide eyes frozen in panic. Breaths shallow, choked by air not meant for living things. In the opposite corner, a tiny leopard cub, only a few months old, lay still, a syringe mark on its neck. Both were wrapped in specialized foil, designed to block scanners from detecting life. Derek stood still, said nothing, but in his pocket his hand clenched into a fist. Not from fear, not from shock, from anger. That cold, quiet kind of rage that comes from witnessing what no one should have to. He turned to Shadow. "Well done, partner." Shadow just exhaled softly, but in his eyes there was understanding. The two young animals were rushed to the airport's on-site wildlife rescue center. Federal Wildlife Task Force agents arrived within 30 minutes, but they weren't surprised. Same foil wrapping, just like the last 3 cases in Amsterdam, Istanbul, and Manila, one agent muttered, lifting the suitcase lining like it was a trick he'd seen before. Only this time, they missed one. Derek stood at a respectful distance. He didn't need to interfere, but deep down he knew Shadow hadn't just smelled fur or sedatives. He had sensed life hidden in darkness, fear with no voice. The luggage was sent for forensic analysis, security footage reviewed, and within 72 hours, officials uncovered a global smuggling network using major airports to ship living packages. Rare animals sedated, disguised in innocent-looking luggage, trafficked like cargo. But this time they hit the wrong checkpoint, and everything unraveled, because of one relentless dog and a man who never ignored the blurry line between nothing seen and nothing there. That night, after submitting his report, Derek unhooked his radio and hung up the leash. Shadow lay quietly beneath the desk, breathing steady. A young staffer walked over, half smiling. "All that trouble, just for a couple of animals? You know, some people would say it's not worth it." Derek smiled back, though it wasn't exactly a happy smile. Sometimes a tiny life is enough to expose an entire empire of cruelty. He crouched to rub Shadow's head. And sometimes we owe everything to a creature that can't speak but never gets it wrong. The next day, a local paper ran a small headline: 2 endangered animals rescued from smuggling ring at Portland Airport. No names, no photos of Shadow, no medals, no applause. But in a dim corner of the basement security office, Derek stood beside the small crate where Shadow slept each day. He'd just placed a bowl of clean water, a chew stick, and a frayed old toy. Shadow glanced up, tail wagging once, then laid his head down again, eyes closing. "Sleep well, warrior," Derek whispered, his hand resting on the dog's head, a thank you that needed no translation. Meanwhile, at the rescue center, the baby bonobo had just taken its first bite of banana. The leopard cub was still weak, but its heartbeat had stabilized. Staff had given her a name, Hope, because sometimes hope comes from the most unexpected places. A vet smiled, stroking her tiny brow. The story of Shadow and Derek won't go viral. It won't trend. And tomorrow the world will likely return to its flights, its suitcases, its rush, as if nothing ever happened. But somewhere on every patrol there's a pair of 4-legged eyes watching the world. And a quiet man walking beside them, no recognition needed, just the knowledge that today they saved something worth keeping. Thank you for listening.